All right, solving equations with one variable. You may feel like you have a pretty good handle on these types of problems, but then all of a sudden your teacher gives you equations that got those dreaded fractions, right? So this is a scenario where the coefficient is a fraction, and this scenario, your variable is actually a numerator to a fraction. So how do we deal with these two types of scenarios? I'll teach you both of them, and by the end of this video, you'll be able to handle them no problem. So treat this no different than any other two-step equation, right? If you had a whole number here, you'd still be removing 4 first through inverse operations. So take 4 away from both sides. We're now left with 2/3 x is equal to 8 minus 4, which is 4. Now, what do we do at the end here to get rid of a fraction when it's a coefficient? We have to multiply by what's called the reciprocal. The reciprocal is that coefficient fraction, and you just gotta flip it. So 2/3 flipped would be 3/2. What that does is it eliminates the 2/3 and turns it into the 1 like we need it to be. That 3 eliminates that 3, that 2 cancels out that 2, and now we have just an x all alone. But if I'm going to multiply the left side by 3/2, I also need to multiply the right side by 3/2. How do you multiply a fraction times a whole number? I like to teach my students to put the whole number over 1 and then multiply straight across. 4 times 3 gives me 12. 1 times 2 gives me 2. So 12/2 would be my final answer. I would like my students to simplify that down to a 6. All right, we've done our first one. 6 is the value of x. That would make this equation come out to 8. How do you do a problem like this? Same style, same idea, right? We still got to get rid of the constant, and we've got a division of 8 attached to my x, so I'm not going to get rid of the 8 until the last step. How do I get rid of -6? Inverse operation is adding 6. Adding 6 to 4 would give me a 10, and now I have x divided by 8. Remember what an inverse operation is? That's just the opposite of what you're seeing. So when it says x divided by 8, I like to look at my students and say, what's the opposite of dividing by 8? And they also respond back, hopefully, with multiplying by 8. So you just got to multiply by the 8 there, multiply the other side by 8. Final answer of x equals 80. So again, sometimes your fractions will be coefficients. Other times your variable will be a part of the fraction. Here's the 2 different ways you would go about solving these types of equations. Hopefully this makes sense. Study hard and good luck on your upcoming tests.